All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to our FPL Under the Radar Game Week 2 preview video. I'm FPL Kante. I'm here with my buddies ZD and Wrangler. How are you doing, ZD? How are you feeling after Game Week 1?
Yeah, doing great. It's been exciting week. I did not have Kane. Sorry, I did not have Haaland. I had Kane, but it's okay, right? I mean, well, we
Mhm.
know the risk, and that's fine. It's just a start. But it's nice now. Pretty excited about second game week.
Yeah. Things are rolling. So nice to
Hmm.
move the
Yep.
crowd. Um, Wrangler, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you? How was your game week?
It was okay. It was not too bad. I'm kind of stuck with Premium at the end. The Perisic decision I had to make kind of last moment. We all showed our team. I think all of us had either Perisic or Doherty. Last time we spoke about our teams in the video, we had to make some changes after contest press conference. But yeah, it could have been better, but could have been worse also, right? So at least the good to be on the right side of the Haaland versus Ken choice. So at least that went my way. So yeah, not too bad, not too bad. How's your game week overall? Happy
It
with
was
how
all
you
right.
started?
So actually, I was chilling, but that Paris news at the end actually gave me some sort of nervousness and what to do, what not to do with him. But at the end, I kept him in the bench, and which allowed me to play Martinelli. If you remember, in last video, I thought I decided to bench Martinelli.
Hmm.
But because of that, I played Martinelli, and which actually became a good news for me, right? So
Yep.
he scored. So yeah, and also I took Ramsdale at the end too, so, and who got clean sheet. So it was
Hmm.
it was all right. I mean I can't complain. So it was above average. So my rank was less than a million, so like
Hmm.
900k or so, which is pretty good. Because first game week is basically a game week rank, right? And if you can maintain game week rank below million, then it's gonna be actually like you will probably be at the very top, right? So I'm happy.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes. So.
Good. All right. So let's get rolling. So today, of course, I mean our focus is going to be some of the team reviews from game week 1. We'll try to focus on the top 5 teams from last season. Again, their fixtures are good. All of us are talking about their players. All of our transfers are kind of going to be focused on them, so that's going to be our main focus. We'll look at some of the player data from game week 1. Again, it's just one game week of data, but as we said last week too, we are a data oriented pod, FPL pod. So we'll try to kind of at least focus on that. Again, keep it as take it as 1 week of data, but we'll kind of throughout the season we'll continue to show those data as it gets more mature over the season. And then of course we'll talk about the game week 2 fixtures briefly and game week 2 captaincy, and we'll end with our team selection, of course. So with that being said, just kind of before we jump into the discussion, just wanted to touch base on this, and whoever is seeing this, uh, I mean, there is no reason to worry about your game week 1 rank, right? It's just one game week. It just probably looks bad if you are at 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, because it's just 1 million, I mean, one game week of data. um, it'll get better, right? Of course, as long as you make the right decisions, make the right transfers, it'll get better. As live APL basically tweeted out that almost 53% of the current top 10k used one chip, at least one chip, basically. And actually, 45% of them were on triple captain, 8% used bench boost. Basically, those two are the chips that you can use on the first game week, anyways, right? You cannot use a wildcard and free it, of course. So that's a significant amount, right? So, and top 10k generally is a good indication of how things are around, maybe up to top 500k and 1 million as well. So again, don't be too worried about your game week rank, because a lot of people who are top ranked have played their chip, already used at least one of their valuable chips, right? So take that into account. And another thing is like the points, right? If you look at uh, the rank differences between points, So between 2 million to 1 million, there is only 6 point difference, right? 6 FPL points difference. And then from 500K to 50K, there is basically just about 10 or 11 points difference, right? So it's basically nothing. You just get one of your captaincy choices right, and you gain those 10 points back. I think we lost Wrangler. Let me add him back. You can hear us, right, Wrangler?
Yeah, I can hear you. My internet is having some issues. Looks like. Can you hear me, guys? Well,
Yes, yes. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
can you hear me,
again,
guys?
we can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Um, All right. So again, I mean, just as I was saying, so don't bother too much about where your rank is. Don't bother about your rank, maybe all the way up to game week 6, 7, 8 time frame. That's when you start to kind of understand the template, where your team is, where your team is in comparison to everyone else. Don't even bother about your overall rank up to that standpoint, right? So with that, let's jump into our main discussion. Wrangler, you want to take us through this plot first? How we can explain this?
Right. So yeah. So from this season, we have decided we'll do a brief review of the current game week, and basically compare with the previous game week's data as well, just to kind of see or show the consistency of any team or any player. But in game week one, we don't have any data, right? That's basically the first game uh, of the season. So that's why here we are basically showing the XG of different teams in game week one and how they compare with their previous season's XG data. Okay, and after 2 to 3 game weeks, we're going to actually show also like how this current game weeks data compare with the previous 2 to 3 game weeks data. So here, the diagonal line, as you see, if any team is above this diagonal line, that means those team kind of overperform compared to their average XG in the previous season. And if it is under the or below the diagonal line, that means those team actually underperform. And as you can see here, Newcastle is kind of are far above, and no surprise. I mean, first of all, I mean, definitely credit goes to them because they have been really doing good after Eddie Howe joined, right? So at the end, like second half of the season, uh, and they played against Nottingham Forest, right? So that's why
Mhm.
they got that. I mean, that was also a home game. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like definitely Newcastle outperformed pretty well, but we have to also see like how it, like whether it's sustained or not. At the after a couple of game weeks, then we'll be probably more intrigued to get players from those teams. And a couple of other teams like Aston Villa, and I would say Aston Villa was really kind of disappointing for a lot of people, right? Especially we kind of got Bailey, we got
Mhm.
Luka Dean, right? And they didn't perform well against the promoted team Bournemouth, right? And they really underperformed. So that's one thing is probably concerning, but you have to see also like in next couple of game weeks. And then Leeds, Everton, Leicester, the Everton and West Ham, they played against good sides, right? Like Chelsea and Man City. So definitely they get benefit of doubt. Leicester City started well, but again at the end, they considered 2 goals as well, and Leeds was kind of 50-50. So those are the couple of the teams, we thought kind of show kind of you don't probably jump onto them or kind of discard them right away, kind of wait and see. And rest of the other teams actually kind of perform pretty much as they were in the previous season, except Liverpool. And we'll talk about Liverpool details in the next slide. But that's just wanted to show, and yeah, that is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see that like the good teams who we expect to do well are doing well, basically pretty much in par with their last season's performance, right? City, Pools, Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, the big boys. And that's what those are the teams that we're going to talk about in the next few slides as well. So yeah, I mean, it's something that we are hoping to do throughout the season, as Wrangler said, to kind of closely monitor the team's performance, in comparison to last season, and when we have significant amount of data for this season against this season's data as well. But yeah, so that's something that we wanted to start with. And then next, we are kind of going to dive deeper into the top five team discussion. We'll talk about strategy and kind of how, of course, it's again just 1 week of eye test, right? And some stats mixed in there as well. But we'll try to kind of at least explain the popular FPL assets and at least the people that we are looking into, how the strategy impacts those assets, right? That's basically our target of this section. So let's talk about Man City first. Again, it was a total dominant performance, right, against West Ham, like totally dominant. West Ham didn't have any like proper chance throughout the game. Some small chances here and there, but literally Man City controlled the ball position throughout the game, right? Like from the start to the end. And it was kind of eye-catching Pep's strategy as well, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And we'll talk about Haaland and KDB later, but maybe we can start with the fullbacks uh, and how narrow they were, right? Cancelo and Walker. Cancelo always does that. Historically, he has always done that kind of play, that inverted role. But even Walker, right? If you look at his heat map, you see how high he is and how narrow he is, how central he is. That doesn't generally happen. And for Walker, the thing is that there kind of almost seems to be like an invisible wall, right? He doesn't go beyond that wall, but he was in and around that area, right? He was in the very central, very involved as well. He was in the bonus also, I think, at until like 80th minute or so. Then he kind of dropped out. So he was very involved. He was making a lot of passes and so on. And Cancelo, as always, right? Uh, his XGI doesn't tell the whole story, but he was pretty much whole throughout the game. He was involved, right? Everything was going through Cancelo. All the defense, all the attack, everything was kind of Cancelo was central to it. And I mean, we can always make the argument whether he's as good as of an FPL asset as he was last year, and as the game progresses, as the season progresses, we'll be able to assess it better. But I mean, there is no doubt that he's still very much involved, and his two bonus point kind of talks about that, right? He got an yellow card. If he did not get the yellow card, he would probably in for all three bonus. So that's how well involved he was, despite City scoring two goals, right? So. But yeah, so that's well, probably he wouldn't get all three because Haaland scored two, but he would at least get two bonus anyways. And despite getting the yellow, he got two. So that's basically the wing backs. You want to talk about the uh, forwards, like the Foden and the Grealishes, the wingman's wrangler, a little bit, how you saw them playing out in the game.
Right. So yeah, basically, they started 4-3-3 with a defensive mid with Rodri, right? But then whenever went for attack, basically became 2-5-3, right? Where they loaded up with like a lot of forwards because they are positional based team, right? And they have to create channels, right? I mean, basically against West Ham because West Ham is good too whenever
Mm,
they defend, right? So that's why the winger here, like as you said, basically the fullbacks become like inverted, right? They became narrow, and that's why basically Foden and Grealish became a little wide, right, in the
mhm,
wing. Although they kind of go a little bit down as well sometimes, drop down to get the ball, and that's where actually Gundogan played a very significant role here, because
mhm,
I think he's going to be very much under the radar, given like Bernardo Silva is kind of it's in a talk that he's probably going to Barcelona, and in that
mhm,
case, Gundogan is going to be very crucial if they play in the 4-3-3 system. Okay, because I mean, as we discussed before as well, that Pep might be able to play like 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. But in 4-3-3, Gundogan is a very good option here, right?
mhm,
So, and the first goal actually, like, I mean, the came between the Gundogan and Cancelo, right? Between that their sync, right? And as you mentioned, that Cancelo was the like main person there, right? And if you see it below that, Man City had most attack from the left side, 40% attack came from there. and just very good sync between Gundogan and Cancelo actually lead to like the first goal where Haaland actually made a run and then it led to penalty, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, wingers. I think in this um, system, Foden was a little bit wider, I would say, although Grealish actually made some cut inside the box, and Grealish actually was getting assist too if Haaland could make that head and have the conversion and get the hat trick, right? So I think they're promising, but again, still wait and see, right? That's what I think here. Uh, but for 4-2-3-1, I think in that case probably cancel will be more appealing because in 4-2-3-1 you will have probably Rodri and like
Calvin
Phillips
Phillips.
sitting in the in the middle, and that will allow Cancelo to go more forward, right? And inside the probably box, and well, he's the bonus monster already, right? But that will probably allow him to get attacking returns that we are missing. But
Hmm.
overall, I think yeah, it's really very dominant, and Pep was really able to kind of bombard with a lot of forwards and was able to create channels, and that led to two goals, right? That's basically it.
So you think keep Foden or Grealish or Mahrez if someone already have them for the Bournemouth game?
I think yes. I mean, you keep them because I mean, first of all, it's against Bournemouth, right? If you have it, if you already have, but if you don't have, I don't think it's a buy right now, really, because we have to see a little bit more, right? Because Alvarez actually played good too. We'll see, how actually he also aligns in Pep's strategies, right? But again, if you have, definitely hold. If you don't have, I don't think you bring him now. Wait a little bit. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, all right. ZD, what do you think about Haaland? Right, everything in the community seems to be about this one guy, right?
Yeah,
Already 800k plus transfer in. So
yeah,
what
of
do you?
course. I mean, if you see the Community Shield game, I mean, he did not score, but he was central to everything, right? So this game as well, he was central, like of all the attacks. So it's he's playing like in Man City team, and we know how much capable of Man City team. So I mean, it's kind of no-brainer not to go without Haaland. I mean, Bournemouth might play like a very low back, but still, it will be
Mhm.
difficult to stop Haaland. And De Bruyne, he was awesome, right? I think second goal from Haaland, it was very good pass from De Bruyne, and he was creating a lot. He goes to the box very often, but I
Mhm.
think 11.5 Haaland is like kind of must have. Like after seeing two games, I'm not saying about just one game. I mean, they might miss, right? But still, he's very good, and he plays for Man
Yeah,
City. So yeah, I mean,
and he has the penalties too now, right? We
yeah,
know
of
that
course.
for a fact. I mean, if Mahrez is on the field, that may be questionable,
But Pep
but
said that.
yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
think he's giving them up. Yeah,
yeah, I like that Pep comment that
yeah,
he will hit if anyone take ball from him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right. So, before we move on, so what do you guys think is the best triple up on Man City right now? Still double defense plus Haaland. Is that the best triple up you think, ZD?
For me, I think so. Yeah, I mean, the positioning of Walker and um, I think, I mean, it's very tough to say like it is 100% confirmed, but
Mm-hmm.
most probably Walker is going to be nailed, right? At least 5 out of 6 games. So I
Mm-hmm.
think still it's good deal. And I mean, West Ham did not get a chance, and their upcoming pictures is very nice as well. So double defense
Yeah.
is the way to go. I think so, because the like eight midfielders, it's very tough to go there because now everything is like Haaland centric. So I
Mm-hmm.
think double defense and Haaland is the way to go.
Wrangler.
Yeah, I mean, right now looks like it is, but again, as I said, I think Gundogan could be a very good
Hmm.
option down to the road. So
Yeah,
we will see, But yeah, right now, I mean, I would not say like you bring him right now. If you already have, you just keep them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to bring Gundo in, I think Nehal was pointing out as well. Foden can play in that position easily as well. Uh, Calvin Phillips will come in, so we'll have to see a few more game weeks before we bring in Gundo. Maybe he could be absolutely a great option if he is more nailed, if he has more minutes. But yeah, just kind of wait and watch at this point. All right, so that's all about Man City. Let's move on to our next focus team, Liverpool. Again, I mean, would expect better from Liverpool, especially against a promoted team. But Fulham kind of came out all guns out as well. They were not holding anything back. They're pressing basically Liverpool like Liverpool does to every other team, right? And they were Liverpool looked kind of surprised, right? They kind of looked shocked for the first few minutes. They kind of eventually pulled themselves back. The first few minutes were like it was all Fulham, right? So I mean, it's hard to say again, like hard to judge Liverpool based on this one performance. They are a great team. They will be a great team throughout the season. But just kind of a few of the dynamics that we want to talk about, right? Again, uh, Trent had a poor game, and we don't necessarily need to talk about him. He will come back. He will be a great FPL option, no doubt. Robertson was okay too. We are not going to talk about Trent and Robbo. They are great FPL assets. Uh, we are going to talk about basically Diaz, Nunez, and to some extent Salah as well. How the other players are impacting him, or how the team strategy is impacting him. So of course, I mean Diaz started, right? Diaz started the game, and he did pretty well. I mean, by no means he was poor or anything. I think the two weak links in the first half for Liverpool was Thiago and Firmino. Firmino was like really, really dropping deep, right? If you look at the left average position chart, that's until basically Nunez came in. Firmino was like playing basically almost like a deep lying midfielder role, at least from an average position standpoint. He's a great player, no doubt, but I think he was too slow for Fulham's press, essentially, right? And that was basically meaning that the defenders could easily handle Salah, the likes of Salah and Diaz's. But the game kind of changed, right? As soon as Nunez came in the second half. I think, what time did he came in? At around like 55, 60 minute-ish, right? That time
Yeah,
frame.
like 53 minutes. Yeah.
53 minutes, yeah. So as soon as he came in, the game just changed, right? He was dragging the center backs with him. That was creating more space for Salah, all the other players. There were more passes into the attacking third. There were more, uh, just more avenue to attack, right? As soon as Nunez came in. So how are you seeing these dynamics, or do you see Nunez starting the next few games, Wrangler? How you're seeing at least the Diaz versus Nunez thing as the third APL asset? We spoke about this a lot in our last video as well. How do you see this game changing your opinion?
Yeah, I think yeah, we talked about it before as well, right? That Nunes will be a baller, right? Definitely. And I really didn't. I mean, I expected that he's gonna like start late, but I really didn't expect that he's gonna come and then completely change the game. Really. So it's very difficult to ignore. But again, this game week we are all on Holland, right? I mean, I don't think we are thinking to get Nunes in this game week. But as you said, for the as a third asset, we have to judge few game weeks. I would say at least 2 to 3. And actually now Nunes definitely is a very good contender. Diaz. I mean, it's very difficult call as always, right? Because
Mhm.
Robo is good too. Diaz was actually good. He actually hit the crossbar once, right? Nunes just 2 million extra price, compared to Robo, and one
Roberts.
million Diaz,
Mhm.
right? So that's where kind of the value goes. But again, I think if Jesus kind of flops 1 or 2 game weeks, I think people are gonna kind of jump onto Nunes because it's kind of
Mhm.
relatively easier switch from 8 to 9, right? And downgrade Robo. and I think he completely changed the game. And as you said, right, initially they started I think 4-3-3, and then became diamond like 4-4-2 with like Robertson kind of going a little bit deep,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually completely fell apart because like Fulham actually started 4-2-3-1, but whenever they saw like Bobby always goes a little bit deep, right, 4-2-3, 4-4-2 diamond, and that's where they made 4-1-4-1, and that Paulina was really phenomenal. He pressed like more than 25 times, and that lead to turnover like I think 10 or 11 times, and that's where completely fell apart. And I think Thiago was really kind of not impressive as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Nunes came, and then also I think uh, uh, number seven, like Liverpool's
Milner,
number seven,
Milner.
Milner, right? When Milner came, yeah, he also actually kind of had a couple of good runs. But again, Nunes was the key. He had very good chances, and he's not like NPXGI, like non-penalty XGI. We'll see like per 90s kind of flying. Okay, it's difficult to ignore him, but as of now, again, just wait 1 or 2 game weeks. If he just kind of have again gives Hall, definitely he'll be in my team. You know so we have to kind of see.
Okay. Zidi, how do you think Salah's prospect? I mean, he is the king of FPL, but do you think Nunez starting versus not starting impacts Salah by any means?
Yeah, I mean he scored 12 points, but I would say his goal was a little bit lucky, right? So it's going to difficult actually to say. I mean, obviously Salah will try to score all the time, but um, Nunes was when he came, he was actually focal point, right? So we have to actually observe a little bit. I mean, uh, like how Salah's game changes. It's very difficult to say actually with 45 minutes, and
Mm-hmm.
he actually scored here and in Community Shield as well. So he's
Yeah.
he's a midfielder, right? So I mean, he's still. I mean, we can hold to Salah, of course, but in the long run, probably we need to watch um, like how Nunes impacts Salah. I mean, Nunes
Mm-hmm.
was phenomenal. It's kind of very tough to hold, like getting going without him. But this week, I mean, we have to wait anyway, right? Because we already have like three spots. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to take a -4 hit and get rid of Robertson and get Nunes. I mean, Robertson can easily haul as well against Crystal Palace at home. So probably it's better to wait and watch and uh, probably using FT. Anybody can jump, but if anybody has a spot for Nunes or like they plan for it, they don't need to get Haaland. They have one FT, they can get.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we have lots of option, right? So we can wait like one more
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
probably to see.
Yeah, you made
And
two good points. I mean, one is last one, as you were talking about. I mean, it's a good chance for people to kind of get ahead of the curve. If someone wants to get in Nunez, this kind of works a differential from one of the best teams. Of course, you are not. It's a differential, but it's not a complete arbitrary differential, right? As long as you want to take the risk on X minutes, it's a valid choice
Mhm.
to get in Nunez early. And the other thing is that I think at some point of the season, there is a possibility that the template will break and people will start going without Salah when we see more from Nunez, more from Diaz. There is a possibility. Now, again, not in the beginning of the season. You just need to kind of play it out safe with Salah, stay with the pack. I mean, I'm not saying play completely safe, but you just don't want to be too far apart from the pack, right? You want to be close. So, but yeah, there will be some point of the
Yeah,
season where we'll probably get there.
like if say Son keeps scoring and Nunes or Diaz they can
Hmm.
fill in the shoes, then probably people will make that switch, right? Salah to Son,
Correct.
and probably they will get Nunes, Diaz, or like two fullbacks. So that might emerge. I mean,
It's a
Son had
possibility.
yeah,
Definitely
Son did
possibility.
not
Yes.
score, but I mean we will be talking about it, right? But he was very up in the pitch, so that could be an option as well.
Right. Right. All right. Okay. So let's move on from Liverpool to Spurs. Again, very dominant performance from Tottenham. Their XG doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. They didn't get a whole lot of big chances, but they had a lots and lots of smaller chances, right? As you can see on the shot map as well, lots of shots. And Southampton were very poor, right? They just looked shabby throughout the game. Ward-Prowse scored an early goal, but that's about it. They had nothing in the game necessarily. Tottenham totally dominated. Uh, I mean, few things that we can definitely talk about here. One frustration for, at least for me and ZD, of course, is that how deep Kane was playing, right? He was basically playing as the central CDM almost. He was trying to be the creator for the team, right? More than anything else. He did get one chance, one kind of small-ish chance, and there was another opportunity where Son could have passed to him and he may have scored, but that's about it, right? That's his whole game. That's his whole highlights essentially. So that's potentially a concern for Kane owners, and I know a lot of people like you are already moving on to Haaland as well. There is a definite reason to do that, especially if someone followed this game. Um, but yeah, so Kane was definitely frustrating. How about the fullbacks, Wrangler? You want to talk about Emerson and Sessegnon? And again, we'll, they are basically placeholders for Perisic and Doherty to some extent as well, right? How do you see them in a contest system?
Yeah, I mean, in contest system, that's the play, right? I mean, there is nothing like surprising here, right? That in contest system, fullbacks will be always like beneficial in terms of as an FPL assets, and we saw the same thing here as well. Regardless, Doc or Perisic starts this time, Emerson and Sessegnon starts, right? It's the same story here, right? So yeah, the first goal, it was really good. I mean, I wish like Perisic or Dog would be there in that place, but again, what can we do? Sessegnon was there, and then Emerson was a little lucky, I would say,
Mhm.
the goal or the own goal that he had, right? And I think another asset that he got from like the Kulusevski's goal, right? So that
Yeah.
was a very good finish by Kulusevski, like then a very good like assist. So Emerson Royal was a little bit lucky, I would say, but again, like they were very advanced. They were like it's kind of
Yep.
that's how Conte plays, right? So we'll see. Like we initially thought that Perisic and Doc are the like the first choice. They are essentially, but it's just Conte was kind of like giving them kind of rest so
Mhm.
that they come to full fitness, right? And we'll probably see they're coming. So next game is Chelsea game. I don't think anyone should bring anyone from Chelsea, sorry, from Spurs. But again, in game week 3, they will have very good fixture, right? So,
Mhm.
and that's where probably we'll see like Doherty or Perisic is gonna play. Sessegnon and Emerson were good, but I don't think anyone's gonna bring them.
Do you
Chelsea.
think
But
Sessegnon's
yes,
performance kind of delays how soon Perisic comes into the first 11 or how many
I,
minutes
I, don't- I don't
Perisic
think so.
plays?
I don't. I mean, he was good. I mean, even last season also he was good, right? But like Doherty played right in that position quite a lot, and also then Doherty played to right wing back as well. The thing is, like Perisic is we know his underlying stat, right? He's like at the age of 35. I don't think like Conte just bring him to kind of put him in the bench, right? Definitely Conte wants something, and he has that potential. He's just I think he just wanted to give him some rest so that he comes to
Yeah.
the full like strength and full fitness and perform well. And we might see in the Chelsea game probably he's gonna start. So yep.
Yep. All right. Okay, let's talk about Kulu and Son quickly as well. I mean, Son, of course, is Son. He looks, at least in this game, looked like the number nine, like a proper number nine, like he was always playing up front. As we said before, Kane was kind of lying deep. Uh, and Kulusevski, right? He was by far the best player in the game, right? He was superb throughout the game. Uh, is he, at least at this point of time, the best 8 million midfielder? What do you think, Zidane?
Yeah, I mean, he played really well. That's obvious. Um, but of course, I would not jump right now because Son could easily haul, and he had a good game. Service game, and he might give some returns as well. But there is a concern of Richarlison, right? So I would not jump right away because the hall is already gone, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for Chelsea game, obviously, nobody is going to buy Spurs asset, but um, if the form continues, we might consider him from game week 3. But I am actually little worried about Son because the way he's playing in that role and the chance Spurs are creating, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously it will be hard to go without Son. I think so. Although
Yeah.
we have like lots of option, but I mean, yeah, the problem is the swing is going to be high. I know some people choose Son over Salah. They might be in the
Mm-hmm.
wrong side, but very soon they might be in the right side, right? That might happen. So this the way Spurs is playing, it's very good for Son owners, not probably good for Kane owners. And those who have Kulusevski, obviously they can hang, but
Mm-hmm.
for the other people, they might wait, like the Perishes or like for the fullback situation. For Kulusevski, at least this game week they can
True.
wait.
Yep, yep, yep. Good answer. All right, so let's move on from Spurs then on to Arsenal. Again, I mean, they came with very good preseason performance and then kind of continued that in this game, at least in the first half. There's kind of two different halves almost, right? Arsenal was dominating in the first half. Crystal Palace looked more dominating in the second half. They had two good chances also. I think Ramsdale saved both those. One was Eze and one was Edward, I believe, the two big chances. But that was about it. Otherwise, Arsenal's defense looked pretty solid for the most part of it. Ramsdale had a decent game, and again, he is probably the best goalkeeper right now in the game, given his price range as well. So we're not going to talk too much about that. Let's talk about Zinchenko first. Wrangler, how did you see him adapting in the left back role? And do you think he's going to continue in the left back even if Tierney is fit?
So going back to your first question, I mean, first of all, I think it was kind of like second version in Arsenal's lineup. I felt like whenever Zinchenko was there, if you see, it's kind of similar pattern here. They started 4-3-3, right? And but Zinchenko was kind of inverted, right? And he was kind of playing kind of similar as the Cancelo role,
Hmm.
right? And the same thing kind of also for Ben White. He was covering Tomiyasu, right? And he was also kind of, I mean, he was not going up, but at least kind of narrow. Okay. So again, it was kind of whenever they were progressing, it was again 2-5-3, and again, those are position based team. They wanted to create channel and like, whenever Zinchenko kind of went to the inverted role in the kind of central mid that actually allowed Zaka to go forward, right?
Hmm.
And the same thing for Odegaard as well. So that's why they had five like forward, and the like Crystal Palace actually had like, I think they started 4-3-3. So you have four defense, right? So in order to create channel, you need to have five forward, okay?
Hmm.
And that actually was kind of allowed because of the inclusion of Zinchenko here. Okay, he was very good there, and he actually got a return as well. So now going back to your second question, that whether if like Tierney actually came like I think around 60 or 70 minutes, right? Whenever Zinchenko was
70
subbed
plus,
out.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah.
talked to the couple of Arsenal fan, right? That if Tierney starts, is there any chance that Zinchenko might play as number 8 role?
Mhm.
Like Isaac. They think probably not. They think it's either Tierney or Zinchenko. Okay, and Tierney is a very good player, by the way, right? And I think there is a very healthy, good competition there, and we'll see probably some rotation there.
Mhm.
So those who went for Zinchenko, like hats off to you guys. You got the return. Now, if you ask me, should I go or jump onto Zinchenko? I will probably wait a little bit just to see. It was a game week 1, right? And I think it's the answer for most of the players, right? But again, he was a very good shout, and but again, I see a issue with X minutes between him and Tierney. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But again, he was a very good inclusion, and again, I think we'll just see kind of similar like strategy that Pep, you know, had in Arsenal, and we kind of started seeing that as well. I think, you know. So yeah, um, that's what I think about inclusion here.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. Remember that Arsenal has Europe this year too, right? So there will be starting game week 5 and so onwards. You have to expect rotation, right? Because Arteta has to manage his team, manage his players. So do expect that rotation for sure at some point of the season. Let's talk quickly about Saka. Saka, I mean, still is a brilliant player, no doubt. He still will be a good FPL asset throughout the season, kind of a season keeper. This game was kind of different because he was kind of having to help Ben White to manage Zaha on that side, right? And White was having kind of he was struggling, right, to manage Zaha to some extent. So Saka was falling back and helping him out. So there was not like a whole lot of attacking kind of involvement from Saka as much as we see generally from him, but he still managed to get that kind of own goal out of Gehi. Uh, that was a good shot. If Gehi didn't touch that, that was probably going to go to one of the attackers potentially. So yeah, I mean Saka is going to be involved, right? So don't judge him just based on this one game. Let's talk about Martinelli and Jesus, right? We'll talk about Jesus last. So Zidim, I know you had Martinelli on your bench, unfortunately. So how did you see him playing? Right, it seemed like a very fluid formation up
Yeah,
forward, like they were interchanging places. Martinelli a lot of time was kind of playing the central role, right? So how do you see his FPL prospect at 6 million too, right?
yeah. So I never had doubt to include Martinelli in my squad, but I just was not sure that if he will do. I mean, the whole Arsenal will do good against Crystal Palace, but unlucky to me, he scored. I mean, obviously at 6 million, you cannot get a better player. I mean, given Arsenal's
Yeah.
fixtures coming up and the fluidity they are having, and Jesus made big impact. Like although his XG is point 0.1, but he played really well, which helped like Martinelli to play, I guess. So
Mhm.
in everywhere I see Martinelli is obviously right now he should be a good target like to have. Like who does not have, they can actually buy him, and for who has, I mean, at 6 million he's a very good shout. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
He's
worth
pretty
it.
much the best midfielder between the 4.5 to 7.5 million midfielder.
Of
Right?
course, yeah,
There is, I don't think anyone else near him in that
yeah.
price bracket.
Of course, I mean, of course, he's a very good shout, right? I mean, people are asking like Rashford or other options, but I don't think people are not, are going there. I mean, Martinelli
Mhm.
has, is going to be the option, of course, and he played very well as well, right? He was supposed to score another goal, I think, in 4 minutes. He missed it, right? Luckily, he
Yeah,
did not score for me. I
yeah.
mean, it would be bad to see like 15 points in the bench.
15 pointer on the bench. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Yeah. So Jesus, right? So let's talk about Jesus a little bit. I mean, he had a phenomenal preseason. Looks very sharp. He was actually like cutting into the box, like doing all sorts of things. Just not the final product essentially in this game. Doesn't have a whole lot of XGI involvement either. A lot of people who probably didn't see the game were kind of worried about his appeal prospect as well. Wrangler, are you worried at all about Jesus's prospect over the next few game weeks?
No, I'm not. I think his number was always there, right? Even in the first half, he actually played pretty well. I mean, it's kind of unexpected. He was actually supposed to get a goal as well, right? I mean, he didn't like get his return. It's just like as you said, right, in the second half. So it was two halves game. First half completely dominated by Arsenal, right? While in the first half, at the kind of 42nd minute or so, at that moment, Eduardo like had a kind of a chance, and that's where kind of some concern raised, and that's when actually Arsenal kind of backed out, kind of dropped down, right? And that kind of, that's where they lost the control, and that's where they were kind of busy with kind of with Zaha and Ayu as well, right? So that's why in the second half, Zaha actually, sorry, like Jesus actually didn't get much of ball, like to get the return. I don't think it's gonna happen in every game. Arteta is gonna come up with some other
Hmm.
strategies. And again, he was kind of really good. I think and again, it was Crystal Palace home, right? I mean, they went to Crystal Palace. It's a difficult game. Crystal Palace defense is good, so you have to consider that as well, right? So from game week, they are playing Leicester City in game week 10. I think from game week 3, their picture looks pretty good. Definitely you hold, and I'm kind of optimistic that he's gonna get his return that is expected.
Yeah, and I would say Leicester
Absolutely.
home is also a great feature, right? I mean, Leicester conceded 2 goals at home to Brentford,
Yes,
and
Brentford. Yeah.
yeah, so this game, like, Jesus easily can score.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, Leicester kind of looks like to be in transition a little bit as well. I mean, they still have all their players, but a lot of their players are kind of in open to transfer, being transferred at Fofana, Madison, Tielemans. They just kind of look like a team in transition. So I won't be surprised at all if Arsenal blasts Leicester, right? So definite hold Jesus. Even if he fails to score against Leicester, I would still say that he's not still a transfer out for game week 3. Game week 3 onwards, as you guys said, Arsenal's fixtures look really, really good. I think he would still be a hold if he fails to do something, fails to get an APL return in game week 2. Definite hold. All right, so let's go on to our last team focus on Chelsea. Um, Kind of a weird game, right? So Everton, of course, is was playing very low block. That's what they do. That's what Lampard does against the big teams. But Chelsea had kind of a poor game, right? From the very beginning of the game, it didn't really look like they had a solid plan how they want to breach the Everton defense. There was a lot of crosses, got like 14 or 15 corners or something like that, but there was no target man, unfortunately, right? So Starling was the one that was kind of playing more central. Kai was predominantly kind of playing the left midfielder, left wing role. Mount was on the right wing, but it was not just quite gelling altogether, right? Mount was very peripheral, very peripheral. He didn't look nearly as involved as you'd expect him to be in the attacks and so on. He had a shot from far, like outside the box. That's pretty much the only highlight that I can remember from that game from Mount. Havertz was very poor. His touches were poor. Didn't he just didn't look to be in the game at all. Starling was probably the best out of the three attackers throughout the game, and I think he played pretty much the whole game, the whole 90 minutes. Um, he looks sharp. Um, and I think again, as we said in the last video as well, at some point of the season, Starling will become a good option at 10 million. He's kind of in that mid premium range, right? At 10 million, he's not quite the 12 million price that you're paying, but he can basically deliver as big as the premiums. And I was listening to the FPL Wire also, and Zofar kind of mentioned it there that Chelsea are not quite the kind of team that continuously accumulates like a 2 plus XG every game and so on. So that's one concern. If you are going to get a player for 10 million or over, you want to get someone from a team that accumulates a lot more XG, like Tottenham or Liverpool or Man City and those. But I think at least at some point of time, Sterling could be an option. Not quite yet. Still kind of wait and watch. But Chelsea's fixtures are actually very good. Game week 3 onwards, all the way up to when we basically use our first wild card. But yes, he can become a definite option at some point of the season. Uh, at the back, again, Koulibaly was great, right? It just looked like it didn't feel like that Rudiger had left Chelsea. Koulibaly and Thiago Silva was great too, as always, no doubt there. But Koulibaly just looks like a machine, right? Even at this age, doesn't look like any drop in performance or whatsoever. So there were some concerns that maybe in the last couple of years he has dropped off, but no signs of that. So he makes me believe that Chelsea's defense will be okay. He was injured a little bit, but I think at least since then there was positive news that he's probably going to be okay. Um, and there are new transfer-ins as well, right? So there is Kukurea in now, so that as we discussed in the last video also, that increases the chance of James Reese playing the right wing back role. There are some murmurs in the community that he may play the right center back in the next match to cover Son, basically. That's expected. That's a very high possibility. But generally speaking, when everyone is fit, when all the defenders are available, we would expect James to play more minutes at the right wing back role, right? And he kind of was off, and I would expect your comments on that as well. Uh, Again, he took probably like 12 or 13 corners. None of them were on the mark. His crosses were not quite on the mark, but he was involved no matter what. He was kind of involved in the attack and so on. Uh, he was there, right? And again, he got 2 bonus points as well, so that means that he was involved. So what do you think of Reese Wrangler? You happy
Yeah,
to have him in your team?
absolutely, man. There has been always, like, in the community, people have been kind of giving doubts whether to keep James or out James, given the Chelsea's, defense. But I was really convinced with James, and
Mhm.
he was a bonus magnet, like like Cancelo, right? He had
Mhm.
yellow, but he still was able to secure 2 bonus points, right? And if you see even Chelsea's the percentage, right, high, like 41% attack actually came from that side. Even sometimes actually he switched, he came in the middle or going to the left as well, right? He is just
Mhm.
a great passer as well, right? So I mean, even against Chelsea, against Spurs game, even if he plays right center back, I will play him, because I am very much confident about him. And whenever he is fit, he's on the pitch, I'll be always bullish on him, regardless the opponent.
Yeah, I mean,
So yeah,
one good thing is that even if he is right center back, he is still on all those set pieces, right? All the corners and a lot of
yes,
free kicks as well. So that's not going away, even if he's playing center back.
yeah. So that's, and also, like, I think so. One question I want to ask, like Cucurella, he was really good. Like the 20 minutes he played, I really never felt that was his first game. The
Mhm.
the signing was just done, I think, 2 days before the game, right? I think so. Probably he hardly had probably one training session, but he actually, the chance that he had, right? I mean, Starley could have scored, right? So is he gonna play in the Chilwell's place, or is gonna play in the left center back? Like, what's your take? I mean, what's your take on him, and
Yeah,
how do you
I mean it's
see him as
all.
a prospect?
I mean it's almost the Tierney Zinchenko situation, kind of, right? So I mean, both of them can play left wing back, or when Chilwell plays left wing back, Kukurea can easily play the left center back role. He did that very well for Brighton last season. I think he played the last 8 or 9 games in the left center back ish role. And he's good at it, right? There is no doubt. And that also allows Chelsea to kind of play the five at the back or three at the back, however you want to say it. If they don't buy any new defenders, if they buy someone like Fofana or something, then that kind of is probably out of the question. Or maybe there could be some rotation between Silva, Fofana, or whoever else comes in place of Fofana and Koulibaly. That's a possibility. And Kukurea slots into that left center back role, and then Chilwell plays left wing back. The only concern is that Chilwell kind of looked a little off, to be honest. He didn't look anywhere near his best. He was not crossing the ball well enough. His passing was not accurate. He just seemed a little off, and it's expected after this long of an injury, right? He was badly injured last year, missed the whole season, didn't play a whole lot of minutes in the preseason either, right? So that's kind of expected. And as you said, right, as soon as Kukurea came in, he just looked sharp, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Kukurea starts some of the games as the left wing back. Absolute possibility. I don't think Tuchel will take the chance with Chilwell playing him every game and kind of not getting him enough time to recover from his long injury. So it's hard to call at this point. We'll again have to wait and watch. But at 5 million, if you're getting a Chelsea left wing back, that's like gold, right? That's a gold mine. So, but we'll just have to wait and watch. I know some of the players I know in our FPL USA community, Ryan already got him. Andy, let's talk FPL, he got him, right? So, but we'll have to see like how much minutes he plays in the left. If he is playing left center back, probably not as tempting, of course. But if we see that he's kind of replacing Chilwell as the first choice left wing back, and there is a possibility, as good as Chilwell is, I think there is a possibility given his fitness and the team dynamics that Kukurea may take that place. So yeah, wait and watch for me. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah,
Anything
I
else that
mean,
you use? Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
Koulibaly and Thiago Silva, right? They played so good that actually even made me more confident to hold or give. I mean, keep James because
Hmm.
I think Chelsea is gonna keep the clean sheet and at least you get 6 points. Right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mentioned this before the game as well, right? I have more confidence on Chelsea's defense than Chelsea's attack, because our attack is still kind of gelling together. There is no out and out forward. Lukaku left, Werner left, Mount, Sterling, Kai, maybe Ziyech if he stays. They will need time to gel, right? And Chelsea are not kind of the team again that scores 3, 4, 5 goals every game. I would be very confident with our defense as long as Koulibaly and Thiago Silva stays fit. So no doubt there. All right, so let's move on. Anything else that you guys want to add on these five teams that we did not talk about? If you remember about
I think we
something.
covered whatever we wanted to cover. I guess. Let's move on.
All right. So next we are looking at again some of the underlying data as we spoke about before from just one game week. So treat it as one game week worth of data. Of course, we're just showing the 10 top defenders, midfielders, and forwards from the ABREF database. Um, what catches your eye, Wrangler, out of all these players?
Um, in defender, I would say none as of now because like in the table, like Dalo, I mean, Man United is gonna concede, right? Their defender is not in a good shape, so no. Emerson Royal, X minutes issue. Zinchenko, we already talked about it. Shaw, no. So I don't, and Sessegnon, no, right? Probably Barn. I mean, but again, Dan Burn and Trippier. If the option, I'm gonna go with Trippier, right? So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so yeah, I don't see any like, I mean, Reece James is there definitely. I already have him. So for in the defender, I don't really see anyone really enticing as of now for me.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, in terms of in midfield, maybe Jolinton. He was really good, but again, I mean, Newcastle played against Nottingham Forest, so you have to see how it looks like. But Jolinton, actually, I mean, he
How
in
much
eye
is
test.
Julian? Is he 5 million or
I think it's 5.5 or something
5.5?
like that. I don't know, but he could be a good enabler at some point if Neto or Bailey, kind of disappoint us, and also like Villa's fixture is gonna have swing after I think game week 4 or so. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
someone and players like Joe Linton or Da Silva or your favorite KDH Kevin D Holland like Disbury House. So yeah, those players might be of interest. But yeah, and forward we already talked about Nunes, right? At the very top, it's per 90. He played only 40 minutes, but per 90, it's kind of exaggerated, I would say. I mean, because we
Yep,
only have one game week, right?
30 minutes
Otherwise,
essentially. Yeah.
Wilson was really good. Again, Newcastle played against Nottingham Forest, right? He scored
Mhm.
the goal that he had. It had only 0.14 xg, so it was kind of how clinical he was, right? I think
He missed a big chance, I think. He missed a pretty big chance, but he scored from that small XG
yes,
chance.
that is correct, right? So again, Wilson, whenever he's fit, and Newcastle is good team too, right? So I think
Hmm.
that's except Newcastle players, I don't see anyone, and also
Hmm.
Nunes, right? Um, do you think we missed anyone here, like which kind of were good, um, at least in eye test, but it's not in the underlying data
Aronson,
result?
maybe. I think that's the only name that comes to mind. The Leeds
And
players, I mean,
Bamford maybe. Bamford
Bamford
and
is not
Rodriguez.
here. Yeah, the Leeds players are probably the only ones that kind of catches my eye who are not quite
What
up in
about
the data.
Harrison? I mean, how was it?
Yeah,
I
so
missed.
Leeds player. Yeah.
Harrison was also good. Yeah, I think Leeds overall looked good. Wolves Leeds was kind of a weird game, right? Again, Wolves kind of started the game well and then fell off. Leeds dominated, I think, the later half of the game pretty well. And Bamford was good. Aronson was very good. He was pressing all over the field. Not necessarily a lot of FPL involvement yet, but I think he can be a good option at 5.5. A good escape route, right, from like a Bailey or a Neto at some point. Bamford is looked good. Bamford looked fit, right, after all this time. Again, he was predominantly injured last season. Bamford looked good. Harrison also looked decent. So yeah, Leeds players could be something to look out for. Their fixtures are actually very good, right? So all the way up to game week 8, 9, their fixtures very good. So they could be someone that are kind of flying under the radar at this point. I'm pretty sure we'll be jumping onto them as soon as we see more from them. Um, but yeah, other than that, maybe we can just quickly talk about the Netos and Baileys here as well. All of us have him. I think all three of us have him, and I think we are playing both of them in Game Week 2. What do you think of them, ZD, Neto and Bailey, right? Are you keeping them? Are you looking for an escape route?
No, I will keep Neto actually. I mean, he was very good bowler. I mean, uh, the thing is, yeah, I mean, for attacking purpose, I think it was 50-50, right? Neto or for Forens. But I
Mhm.
think I will obviously hold to Neto. I'll give him more chances. For Bailey, I mean, Aston Villa was overall poor, but obviously we took him for first two games, right? At least, so I'll give him
Yeah,
another chance. So after that, probably I need to think of it.
good, good, good. Anything else
And
that we are missing?
good thing is he was playing a full 90 minutes, so hopefully he will
Yeah.
start against Everton.
Yeah, he looked like the best out of the all the attackers, Aston Villa attackers. They were overall a little bit toothless, but
Mhm.
if anything, Bailey was probably the sparkling player. Um,
Probably don't
yeah,
jump too gross like after one game.
yeah, he looked very advanced though, like
Yeah,
surprisingly advanced. He was inside the box. He had like
yeah.
both of his goals were like from big chances, like they were not like arbitrary goals. So it could be interesting. I know it's
But
Pascal
the
Gross.
problem
It
is
looks
Potter always changes, right?
Yeah, it
Whenever
always changes. Yeah, it
whenever,
sounds like almost like FPL in 2017-18, right, Pascal? We are
yeah,
talking about Pascal Gross.
yeah.
But yeah, Welbeck was good. I think Welbeck actually finished the last season very well. I think he had returned in all of the last 5 games in last season, and then he kind of just picked up from there. He looks like to be the first choice, but again, we know Potter, right? There is still Mope there. There's Undav there right now, right? So that could change. But I liked how Welbeck played. Not just his goal, but he was very involved. Like he looked sharp, he looked fit. So that could be someone. Again, Brighton's fixtures are also good. If we are in the market for a cheap forward, I don't think Welbeck is the worst shot. But again, I don't think we are necessarily talking about those guys quite yet. Um, but yeah, anything else that we are missing, Wrangler or ZD? Of the players. Good to move forward.
No, I think again for Neto and Bailey, you still hold at least for 3 to 4 game weeks. Villa's fixture actually have swing after game week 4 or from they're playing West Ham, I think in game week 4. But
Four is
again,
West Ham. Mhm.
right. But you remember, like whenever we brought Diane, right? She talked about the Crystal Palace asset, and they were
So,
she was actually spot on about SZ and also Eze, right? Eze
okay.
Edward, right? So they actually looked good, really. So and they actually had two good chances, by the way. They both
Mm-hmm.
of them missed it.
Is they
So
should have scored. Is they
yes, so we
absolutely
have
should have
actually a lot
scored.
of
Yeah.
cannibals, by the way, right? We have,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some escape definitely routes, and we have also like Andres Pereira at 4.5. He was really good too. We have Da
Mm-hmm.
Silva, right? We have like Leeds, as you mentioned, like, and also from old side Podence Neto. Dondunker was actually good too. He had two chances, by the way, right? I mean, I know, I mean, there are better players maybe to look for, but he had also two chances. So we have lots of options. KDH is there, so there are always escape routes, as I mentioned. So we don't have to worry about that.
You have anything to say about Manchester United?
wait and see. That's what
Yeah.
I want to just say. So,
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. I mean, there is a possibility that Ronaldo may start. Ten Hag was actually pretty happy with Ronaldo's performance in the second half. He can, and it was visible as well, right? As soon as Ronaldo came in, it looked like a different attack. At least they had an avenue to attack, right? Before it was like all like nowhere, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Um, all right. So let's move on. Fixtures again, not much to talk about here. There are a few key fixtures that we'll talk about the captaincy anyway. So Man City, Bournemouth is a fixture to target. Liverpool, Crystal Palace is a fixture to target. Two of the giants, Chelsea and Spurs, are of course playing each other, so not much to talk about there. Arsenal Leicester could be a fixture to target, as we spoke about. Leicester's defense kind of, or team as a team, they're kind of in transition, so Arsenal could absolutely exploit them. Other than that, not too many like exciting fixtures elsewhere. Probably anything else that catches your eye other than those few.
Man United against Brentford.
You mean for Brentford, right?
We'll see. We'll see. We will reveal, at some point. So,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
but yeah, you're right. I think those are the fixtures to target and more interesting in this game weeks.
Yeah, really looking forward to Leeds actually, how they play and how they do against Southampton. As we said, like some of their assets could be really good moving forward. Okay, let's move on to our captaincy discussion. Straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward, but there is always that Mo Salah question, right? He is always going to be in the equation. No matter how straightforward it is, Salah is going to be in the equation. So, I mean, the community consensus looks kind of on the side of Haaland, 100%. The models kind of still say Salah slightly ahead of Haaland. All the EVs and etc. Predict Salah to score more than Haaland. And Salah has a very good record against Crystal Palace, right? We all remember a couple seasons ago when he came in for the last 20 minutes and scored like a 15 pointer or something like that. So he can always haul on any day. So I know ZD already brought in Haaland for Kane before the price rise, right? So my question is going to be, if you already don't have Haaland in for Kane, if you have Kane in and you're priced out, would you take a -4 to captain Haaland for game week 2? Is it that enticing?
It depends on who is other -4, right? I mean, if like you're downgrading, say, Robo or someone like that player, I mean, it's hard, right? Judging those kind of player just with one game. I know Haaland can haul easily, but Salah can haul as well, right? Because um, it's at home against Crystal Palace. I know Crystal Palace is a little difficult fixture than Bournemouth, but Liverpool actually could not win first game. So Haaland
Mm-hmm.
uh, is a good contender as well. I mean, I already got Haaland before priced out, and probably I'm going with him just playing like safe at the beginning. But I don't think Salah is bad captain in any way. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're priced out, I would not take -4 because you're talking about Kane Haaland, right? So if Kane scores one goal and Haaland scores two goal, Haaland will be like 13 points and Kane will be like, I mean, it is like say 10 to 12 points, right? Because Kane scored and he will obviously get bonus point, and you are like priced out. You already took -4. So in that case, I won't take it. Um, I will take a chance by giving captaincy to Salah probably.
If you, for some reason, don't have either of Haaland and Salah, question for Angler. Say if you have a KDB and Son in the team, would you captain KDB, or would you think of moving from KDB to Haaland for a
No,
-4 again?
no. I mean, if I would have taken KDB, I kind of um, thought about it that KDB is gonna match with Haaland, right? So there, I mean,
Mhm.
and also it's not a direct swap, right? You have to have at least -4, right, to have that
Yep.
swap. So doesn't worth it. And KDB looked good too. I mean, I've been always I always had a propaganda for KDB, as you know, right? I love him. It's just that 0.5 million, and the positioning kind of made me difficult to get him. But that's another discussion. But again, yeah, going back to your question, no, I would not do that. I would just keep KDB and captain him,
and
because that was the thought process I had at the very beginning, and I would be sticking to that. So,
Yep, yep, yep.
and I think the people who took KDB instead of Haaland, obviously they took KDB because of this fixture, like to give
Mhm.
captaincy in this fixture. So I would not make a change. And KDB was great too, right? I mean, he could easily, if he scores, it will be like 10 point, or like, right? So I won't. I mean, that was a good point, and but I think KDB is the best answer, as Wrangler says.
Mhm. There is no reason to captain say like a wingback, like a Trent or Cancelo by any means, right? Given the fixtures, you just go for the attackers, right? All right. So yeah, I mean, easy peasy discussion here, but yeah, I think it's consensus is Haaland, but again, don't completely discount Salah. If we hear anything about Haaland, whatever, don't mind captaining Salah at all. All right, let's talk about our teams next. Should be again pretty quick discussion. My team is exactly the same going into game week 2, literally the same 11. So I'm keeping Kane. I did kind of for a brief moment thought about moving him out for a Nunez, but just kind of backed out of that because I knew that I took Kane in because of his fixtures in game week 3 and game week 4. So I want to keep him for that, take the chance. I know his price is going down, so that's a little frustrating, but I'll take it on the chin as long as I'm not selling him and as long as he returns in game week 3 and 4. I don't mind the price fall, right? So other than that, pretty straightforward. The same team as game week 1: Sanchez, Walker, James, Trippier, Trent, Bailey, Salah, Neto, and then up front Jesus, Haaland captain, and Kane. That's going to be my team for game week 2. Anything? I don't think there's much to talk about. Let's just move forward. Wrangler, your team?
yeah, so I'm gonna roll the transfer, and with the same team, I'm gonna bench those players that I benched in the game week 1. So my goalie will be Ramsdale. In the defense, it's Robertson, James, Trent, and Cancelo, very big at the back. And I'm gonna play 4-4-2 here, and then Salah, Neto, Bailey, Martinelli, and right now Holland captain and Jesus. So yeah, I mean definitely Holland is a very good captaincy shout, and I mean people are transferring him. But I think Salah's EO will be more than 100%. That's my feeling, and he's gonna play against me, in this game week, because I think he's gonna be a 120 or a 110 each. That's my personal, opinion. But again, Holland is the best shout, and I'm gonna go with him. So unless there is any news, or any prediction that he's not gonna start, but yeah, that's gonna
Yeah,
be.
I personally think Haaland CEO is going to be higher than Salah,
Oh
especially
yeah,
looking
definitely.
at the transfer pattern, right? So I'm pretty sure
Yes.
everyone that's bringing in Haaland is going to captain him. Pretty much everyone. I think his ownership is at like 55%. Overall ownership is at like 55% now. But yeah, Salah would probably be still close to 100% yo because there will
Yeah,
still be
I mean
people
Salah was
captaining
like
him.
184, I think, in game week
Yeah,
1. So if you just half it, it's 90% around, right? And there'll be a lot of people who has Kane or Son, they're gonna still
yeah,
like captain Salah, right? So I that's
right.
that's my thought. But yeah, Haaland is gonna be like 150 each or more than that maybe. So
Okay, okay. All right, ZD, your team exactly the same 11 as Wranglers.
Yeah, we have same team, so nothing much to talk about. I had Kane. I transferred in Holland. I'm benching Trippier, by the way,
Mhm.
because I do think Bailey, Neto, Martinelli, they have good chance to return this game week. Actually, I took them for this game week, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going to play them. And Brighton is very good team, so it will
yeah.
be tough game. I mean, Trippier might contribute with the attacking return, but I think those 11 have greater chance to have points than the player that I benched. Um, I wish I could have another City defense against Bournemouth, but there is
Mhm,
no space actually in this
mhm, mhm.
lineup. So I'm happy with it. Um, I was thinking of, I mean, not thinking, just probably a little bit like captaining Salah, but probably obviously I will go with Haaland. One thing is I transferred in him. Another thing is I think he's a best shout. And for Salah, if there is no Nunes, I would say Salah would be like the one. But with Nunes' presence, I would. There is a chance of like splitting the points, right? But with Haaland,
Mhm.
there is a very good chance that he's going to get the points. So that's why I will pick Haaland.
Yep, yep, yep. Makes sense. So yeah, nothing too fancy about our teams this week. Wrangler and me rolling and ZD made the early transfer from Kane to Holland. All of us are captaining Holland. That's about it. And I mean, we'll hope that it'll be a good week. I mean, its template is going to be even stronger this week because of how the fixtures are. If someone is doubled up on a Man City defense or a Liverpool defense, and then the regular guys in the attack, I mean, it's a perfect week for the template, right? So template is going to be strong. So it's important to stay with the template at this point of the season as well. Anything else that you guys want to touch on before we end our discussion today?
Nope, I think we covered, and it's game week one, right? So in game week, like in later game weeks, you can have more data or more stats, but I think it's good that we covered some like strategy and some kind of eye test specific discussion, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. All right. So with that, let's just finish here. We'll hopefully come back with our game week preview video. We are trying to do it earlier in the week. We'll see if we can do it maybe Tuesday regularly from now on, at least. It's hard for us to do Monday for other reasons, but we'll try to do it Tuesday every week from now on. Um, Again, good luck, ZD. Good luck, Wrangler, for your game week 2. And we'll see you guys back next week. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining from FPL USA. And I see some people from Bangladesh as well. Akib, uh, thank you all for joining. We'll meet you guys all next week. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
bye, guys.